Some things just go together. Wine and cheese, flowers in springtime, and yes, books and bottles. We pair your favorite author with your favorite drink. Your host of Books and Bottles, Benita Johnson.
Hello and welcome to Books and Bottles. I'm your host, Benita Johnson. We are back with another fantastic edition of our show where we introduce you to your favorite new author and pair his or her work with your favorite wine or spirit. If this is your first time, we are really excited to have you. And if you've been with us before, welcome back. So this is going to be a great show. We brought back one of our fan favorites and one very special friend of Books and Bottles. She was on before when we talked about Lessons for a Little Boy with one of our producers and some other authors. So today she's back with her second edition of Lessons for the Little Girl, Part 2. I introduce you to Miss Jaime Gill.
Hello, my sister Benita. How are you?
Hey, I am so excited to see you. How are you?
I'm doing very well. I cannot complain at all, ma'am. How are you?
I'm good. So first I want to congratulate you on the
you.
huge success that was Lessons for the Little Boy.
I'm feeling off.
I saw a post yesterday or today on one of Glenn Murray's posts, who is one of our executive producers and a contributor to Lessons for the Little Boy, that the books were like fresh out. You sold every printed copy.
Yes. So they had an amazing book signing this past weekend, and I got a text because I wasn't able to go, and I got a text. I would show you a picture of a table full of books, but we're sold out. I was like, what?
That's a great problem. That is one problem that most of us independent authors want to have. So congratulations and kudos to you.
Thank you, ma'am.
So let's talk about Lesson for the Little Girl 2. We've done this before.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Right?
So Lessons for the Little Girl 2 came out of this really just this revelation that womanhood is a journey. And Lessons for Little Girl 1 was kind of like my going back to my childhood, remembering those things that really impacted my life, those key themes and experiences that really helped to make me the woman that I am today. And I guess I thought after writing the first one that that was it, that was all. And after moving to Florida 5 years ago and going through all that I went through, from uprooting from Chicago, the only place that I had ever known as home, and moving away from my friends, changing careers, and then losing my father and my godfather, and then my aunt, it was just like this trickle effect of just life happening, that I recognized that I was still learning a lot. Yeah. And Lessons for the Little Girl, I called really just this very easy, this very nice way to kind of present the journey to and through womanhood. But I knew that there were some things that I was going through that were were meatier lessons. This wasn't milk, this was the meat. Yeah. And so that's what I call Lessons for the Little Girl too. It's time to start chewing.
Exactly. And that's interesting that you say that, because as women, we're constantly learning. I mean, I guess as human beings, we're constantly learning, but it's like some of the lessons that we want to leave, we don't learn until we're in our 30s or our 40s. Right. And so we always got something to share.
That's right. That's right. And this book for me, I didn't even recognize, whenever you're doing anything, and I'm sure that's even true with you about this amazing show, you kind of start off with one intent, but after it's kind of out there and it's going, you're like, wow, this is giving me so much more. I wanted to provide something for the people, but this is now feeding me in a way that I didn't even know I needed to be fed necessarily. Yeah. I'm very grateful. The cover of this book actually are all the women in my life that have made a very direct impact in who I am as a woman. And right before this book came out, another one of the women on the cover had passed away, which was my dad's sister, my auntie Maxine. I call her one of the first divas of my life. And so just recognizing that the women that we come across in our lives, not just family, but Benita, like yourself, you're a woman who deeply impacts my life, not just because I'm on your show, but because I'm connected to you and I see how you move and the things that you're presenting for your community and the amazing events that you throw. Like, that's inspiring for me. And so we all make an impact on one another through our own pursuit of life. And I think that that's what I try to do in this book, is to allow women to recognize that as you're going through your journey, recognize that you're directly and indirectly impacting other women.
Thank you. And thank you for those kudos. And I want to extend my condolences for the loss of your aunt, because I know out of loss, sometimes that is also inspiring, and that pulls some other things out of us. So I do understand that journey all too well.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Actually, she got sick when I was at your event.
No.
That's like, so she's directly connected to.
That was in April. You were in
Yes,
Virginia.
Ma'am. Yes, ma'am. That's very true, because I thought I was going to have to leave Virginia and go to North Carolina, but I ended up being able to go home. But it wasn't too long after then that she ended up going home to be with the rest of her family. So she's with her brothers now and my grandparents, and so I rejoice in the fact that I know that she's no longer suffering. So, but I still miss her.
We do. Our culture is rich, and we do celebrate life when it's coming in and going out. And so that's kind of like one of the beauties of our culture. And I want to just speak on your dedication to your work and your product. You know, you mentioned you came to Richmond for my event. You know, I think every man from Live from the Cave is a part of your book.
That's
true. For the little boy. And so we were doing
that. I didn't plan it.
Exactly. So we were doing a Live from the Cave, like in person, right? I think it may have been their only second in-person appearance. And you came up from Florida to support the guys at a book signing that we did at the Book Bar RVA in Richmond. And we've had Miss Crystal Dandridge on the show as well. But you came up, and so you are so committed to your authors and your project. And I think that makes a huge deal in the lives of the authors, that the person who put this together really cares about its success from beginning.
I really do. Like, I have the pleasure of knowing most of the men. So here's the funny story. There were 4 men in the book, 3 that I had never met in life, in person. I had met virtually. Okay. And so being able to have this trust, men don't necessarily share their selves just with anybody, especially when you're talking about an emotional and vulnerable space. And so for all of these men, including the ones that I knew that they were putting a lot of trust in my hands. And I get asked every interview, every time somebody found out that I'm the visionary behind Lessons for Little Boy, as a woman, what do you have to give? Like, this is a book about men. Like, what could you possibly say? I said, I just created the space. I didn't say much at all, except welcome and good night. Like, there was very little that I added in the book, but the piece that I added was about my relationship with my father, to show how, as men and women, how our perspectives, our emotions, our experiences are so directly connected. And so at the end of the day, if these men are willing to share, very vulnerable. I mean, you have the book, you've read, but it's a very vulnerable book.
It is. They're quite open.
Yes. And so I am like their biggest cheerleader. I want them to go forth. And if you notice that day, like, I wasn't, I wrote the note. I was in the background. I'm taking their pictures. I'm taking their
you were videoing and doing everything. You weren't
it's about them. It's
Yes.
about them. I'm definitely not trying to take. I think that women have so many spaces in the world to be able to
Yeah.
express our opinions and to get the support that we need for various aspects of our life and journey. But I just don't think that men have enough spaces. I'm not saying that they don't have any. And so I really want this book to really just be a movement and an opportunity for men to be celebrated, and for them to know that as men, like, we see you, we hear you, we're trying to listen better as women. And so I'm a man ally. Go man, go. Go
Me
man,
too.
go.
And I think it's important as women, especially for African American males, that
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we be quiet and let them speak. Other groups have their platforms and they take over, they own it. But
Mm-hmm.
sometimes our men, their voices get quelched. And so we are here to allow them to speak. And so I
Yes.
appreciate you. So what's the difference? Tell us what our authors can find in the difference from Lesson for the Little Girl 1
Mm-hmm.
versus 2. You mentioned you grew, but did
Mm-hmm.
the book grow as well?
Yes. So I would say one of the biggest, here, I'll give you an example. So one of my favorite chapters in Lessons for Little Girl 2 is it's called Self-Correction. And I think that in life, oftentimes we are quick to be defensive when people critique us, whether it's our bosses or whether it's a customer or whether it's a Facebook follower. We're on the defense when somebody says something about us, our product, our service. And I think that, and I mentioned in the book, I said, it's easy to recognize, and I give the example of when we're little in school and our teacher has that red pen and she's marking up our paper, and the anxiety that comes just from seeing the red ink on the paper.
Mm-hmm.
And the teacher could literally be saying, this was a great paper, but you don't even see the words, you just see the
But
red.
it's red, right? It's
And there's
red.
this anxiety. And I talk about not only learning how to take external critique, but at what point are we going to be able to say our own stuff stinks?
Okay.
And so this book calls us to a place of maturity. There are so often times in my own life, I'm not even pointing the finger, where I know that I didn't do all that I was supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
That I know that I wasn't all that I was supposed to be in a situation because of my emotions or how I thought I was right and they were wrong, or because I'm being a brat. Let's just be honest, because I was being a brat, and I'm not going to because I don't want to.
Right.
Let's just be honest. And so this book is, if there's anything that I can say that this book is just a place, is calling women to a place of maturity on their journey.
Okay.
It's not about beating yourself up. It's not about, saying, putting overemphasis on your weaknesses, but it's about the holistic experience as a woman. Like, okay, you tried this business. It didn't make what you thought it would make, or it didn't do what you thought it wanted to do. So do you stop it?
Yeah.
Or do you just revamp and do some things differently? So this book for me, I think that if there's anything that I could say, it's just it's calling women to a place of maturity.
So how do you select the women who will contribute to your books, or even the men in the book that you did? How do you select contributors?
Well, so for Lessons for the Little Girl 1 and 2, it's just my voice. I do have a book coming up that I won't speak much on, but I will say this: our dear friend and sister, Miss Keisha Rose, is a part of that project, and I'm so very excited about it. But whether you're talking about this upcoming project, and the reason I'm not speaking on it is because I really want it to be very organic, and I don't want to put a timing on it, because I think that sometimes when you're so caught up in the date, you miss what you're supposed to get from the people as well. But for me, I call it the spotlight. Literally, people just have a spotlight on them. I could be having a conversation and they'll say something and it's literally like a spotlight is on them. I'm like, this is the person that needs to be a part of the book. This is the person that needs to share this part of the story. One of my favorite stories about that is with Kennery from Lessons for the Little Boy. He made a Facebook post about building a guitar. and music and how it's synonymous to life. And I was in tears. And
Wow.
I was like, I know you don't know me. We're just both fans of The Man Cave, but I kind of need you to write this book for me.
Yes, and that's amazing that you're willing to take the chance and
Mhm.
trust your sense of discernment that
Mhm.
this person needs to be a part of this what I'm doing. So many times we kind of shut ourselves and we know I
Yeah.
want this and this, and then something else come, you're like, nope, no, because I already made this decision. But you
Yeah.
saw that and you allowed that to allowed him, I'm sorry, to be a part of it. And that's
I
amazing.
tell everybody when it came to Lessons for the Little Boy, and as it comes with this upcoming project, the book tells you what it needs. For me, it's kind of like I'm not a parent, but I say my books are my babies, and so children often in real life, children cry or they kind of pull on what they want. So if they diaper dirty, they kind of pulling on that.
Mm-hmm.
Their ear is hurting, they're kind of pulling on that, and so
Sure.
people pull on me much like a child would a mother, and so the book or the concept of the book or the vision of the book tells me what it needs. And so I really try to, what a lot of people don't realize about me is that when it comes to writing, I really try to be a conduit of whatever God wants for me to give the world. I recognize that my time here on earth is limited by whatever assignment I have. And so I really try to tune in to what I'm supposed to be leaving here for when this physical self leaves. What am I supposed to leave behind? and
Yeah.
and so that for me is why I'm so sensitive about it. There were quite a few, there's a long list of men that I had originally asked to be a part of Lessons for the Little Boy, for example.
No, hold on, because when you start talking about asking men things, it's time to bring in wine, girl. Once we start bringing them, we need to be drinking. So we have a phenomenal guest with us today, and I am so proud to meet her officially and to introduce her to our viewers and our fans. So I want to introduce from Poised Wines, Miss Denise Charrington. Hey, Denise.
Hi, how are you?
Thank you for being a part of Books and Bottles. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
So you are the owner and winemaker behind Poised Wines.
Yes,
So
I am.
congratulations on being in this space. The wine business is one of those where you come in with a large fortune and you end up with a small one. You probably know that.
Yes, it is so costly. I think people think it is all glamorous. They
It
just
looks
don't see the
glamorous
coins
from
going out
outside.
on the back end.
Yes. So tell us about Poised and how you got into wine.
Well, it was one of those things where during COVID, when we're all sitting at home wondering what it is we're going to do with the rest of our lives because we don't know what the hell is going on.
Right.
I thought that it was time for me to do something for myself, independent of any company that I work for.
Okay.
So right now I'm the head of HR for a manufacturing company
Okay.
out here in Arizona. And I knew that there were a couple of things that I was passionate about. One of them is fashion, which I've always done things around that, but I wanted to challenge myself to do something that I could say this was all done by me from the start to the finish. What do you like, Denise? Well, Denise likes drinking wine.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I used to do was to go to different places and just try different wines just to kind of see what's out there. So I started making some phone calls, hooked up with a company in Napa. Decided that I was going to, at first, it was going to be, let me just see, it was, let me just see before I just fully dive in. Let me just see what this entails. So I took a meeting with them and decided that I wanted to go ahead and make wine. And for people out there, because people always think when I say that I make wine, that I own a winery. I do not.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways to be in this industry.
Yeah.
That's the whole show.
So it's just a matter of coming up with a good partner.
Yeah.
So I make wine with the Wine Foundry. Unfortunately, because of COVID, all of my blending sessions and all of that have had to be virtual.
Yeah.
because, people weren't allowing you on their properties and all the COVID restrictions and all that.
Yeah.
But I basically started this project to say that this is something that is mine. This is something that is created by a Black woman. I know that we are slowly getting into it, and I feel like there's a space where we can do more with this.
Right.
Once I get this under, completely secure where I'm comfortable, I want to do a spirit too.
Oh,
But
wow.
yeah.
Okay. I understand that. One of my very good
Sign me
friends,
up.
she's doing like a full service beverage,
Yeah.
spirits, wine, what they call it, ready-made cocktails, and
Mhm.
so I love that, and kudos to you. So what are you drinking tonight?
Well, I am drinking the Gewürztraminer.
Yeah,
So as we can see my label,
very pretty.
it's something that just came to me, and I had it came to me. I talked to an illustrator and she put it on paper. And one of the things that I thought about before putting this out was, okay, you're putting blackface on a wine bottle. How is that going to be perceived? I've had people tell me that I shouldn't do it because I'm cutting off a certain segment of the market if I put a black face on a label. I've always been one to go against the norm. So my spirit told me that this is what I needed to do, and that is what I did.
That's a big conversation. Like, why do we, have to hide? I mean, right now it's so easy to find out who owns anything anyway. And if you're gonna discriminate because I'm Black, you're gonna know I'm Black. So whatever, right? Just
so
and let people who love us, they're gonna support us.
That's
exactly.
Right.
I can't let how I create be influenced because I'm afraid that somebody won't like it. Right. You're never going to please everybody. You're just not.
Right.
That is just the way the world works. You can be a people pleaser all you want to, but there's somebody that's going to have a problem with it. So why not put something out there that I am comfortable with? At the end of the day, it's a great product. Every time I open a bottle and I smell the aroma, I'm like, this is so good. Like, everybody needs to taste this. So
and Gewürztraminer is so versatile. It can go with so many different things. I love it with spicy foods and just things that are ethnic. I appreciate you. I just want to thank you for being a sponsor of Wine Crawl in Richmond, my event, and the one in Atlanta that's upcoming in February. We really appreciate that and invite other winemakers to be a part. The purpose of Wine Crawl is to bring together winemakers and to introduce new restaurants, wine bars, and wine products. So we really thank you, Denise, for
you're very welcome.
joining us and being a part of that journey. So how can people buy your wines?
It's available online, so poisedwines.com. I also have a Instagram page, which is Poised Wines, and the website is located there also.
I just bought a bottle while you were talking because I loved your bottle. That's why I bought a bottle.
Yes, thank you. You're gonna love it.
It's all about, and so the book Lessons for the Little Girl. This is what this is about, sisterhood, and we get together and we tell our story. So stay with us, Denise. Don't go anywhere. We're gonna go back to Jamie for 1 second, just to ask her what's next and how can people get this book, Lessons for the Little Girl, 1 and 2. Might as well get both of them, right?
Just get the little boy book too. Just get all three.
Get the whole set.
Since you're shopping, you know what I mean. Christmas is coming.
That's right.
Yeah, I need your information.
Yes, ma'am. I'll make sure that you definitely have it. So all of my books are available anywhere books are sold. So Amazon, while you're filling up your carts for Christmas, go ahead and get Lessons for Little Girl 1, 2, and Lessons for Little Boy. You can also get them on Barnes & Noble, Walmart.com for my Walmart shoppers. Target used to have them, but something's going on with them. So we're working on that as the publishing team. But it's I don't say this because I wrote it, but it really is a beautiful journey to self-reflection. Usually I have inventory because I know a lot of times people want personalized signed books, which I do. There is no book that is autographed the same. Everybody has their own personal message. That makes it your book. And I do that very intentionally. And so I usually have inventory, but if you do want one for me, let me know as soon as possible. Especially if you want it for a gift for Christmas, let me know as soon as possible. I do still have a few left in hand, but I could possibly get some more in time before Christmas to get to you before the holiday. So
well, I ordered one, but I'm going to say right now publicly in front of everybody, I want a book and I need it signed to me. So just tell me what I need to cash up you. I'll give you my address and everything. Send it to me.
Yes,
but I'm very grateful for y'all taking the time to be a part of Books and Bottles. I wish you both tremendous success. I can't wait. Y'all know, so when I get these folks together, while y'all talking, my brain is working. So I'm working on ideas for us to be in the same room for something special.
Well, I already decided I was going to be like, hey, let's do an event in Arizona. I'll come and we can do a live Books and Bottles with wine.
Let's do it. That's good. It's already turning. So we're going to make that happen. And our executive producer, Miss Keisha Rose, says she's coming. Amen. And for those bookstores that are out of books, she's been shipping them out today. So bookstores are going to be replenished before the holidays. So thank you so much, ladies. Thank you. We encourage our viewers to pick up the books, Lessons for a Little Girl 1 and 2, as well as Lessons for a Little Boy, and to order that Poise Wine at poisewines.com. Thank you so much for tuning in. If we have authors who'd like to be a part of Books and Bottles, we encourage you to hit us up at info@grosprod.com. Thank you so much again for tuning in. Please remember to hit that share button so we can grow our audience. We appreciate you. Until next week, cheers.
Cheers.
Camped out at home for COVID? Join us, Indie TV, where you will see the talk shows, movies, drama, action, and comedy. Be the first and see it first. Sign up now for free